You want to start? You want me to start?
You made the account.
It's our account. So.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Vincent Fox.
I'm Eden Riley.
And I've been in the industry 20 years. Came from the adult side of the industry, gentlemen's clubs. And that was, I guess, the majority of my adult industry experience, which I still do. And I'm also been making content, I guess, for like 3 years, maybe 4. We took some breaks in between, but yeah, probably like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I've been in the industry for about 8 or 9 years. I started with dancing, still dance, do videos, but I've done all kinds of stuff, like showgirl stuff and all kinds of things. And then we've been together for 5 years.
Yes.
We've been making content together for, like 3 or 4 years, and then just started making content with other people
Last October.
9 months ago almost?
Yeah, 9 months.
October's coming up again soon.
Well, about 9 months ago.
Yeah. And then, what was the other question that it said?
So I guess we were monogamous up until
Yeah.
we started filming with other people. I don't know how I describe us now. We're not really lifestyle or swingers people. I would say we're ethically
non-monogamous.
Ethically and professionally non-monogamous. Yeah, let's just say ethically non-monogamous is probably the closest term for us.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because polyamorous means that you date other people. But if I was like, I want a girlfriend, you wouldn't care.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But
really, we just work with other people. Yeah. For the most part.
I'm Liam Idols, and this is
Kinky Some Girl. And we are a polyamorous couple who've been in the adult industry for 5 going on 6 years.
yeah, something like that.
But we've been together for a little over 10.
A little over.
Hello, I'm Guido, and this is Jay. We are a monogamous married couple. We have been together 15 years and married 10, and I have been in the industry over 6 years now.
Hi, I'm Peppermint.
And I'm Dusty. And Pep and I have been together for 15 years.
We have been adult content creators and webcam models for 10 of those years. We began in this industry in 2016.
And also, we are certified relationship coaches, and that is one of the reasons why we also chose to enter this industry.
We have a monogamish relationship, so we occasionally indulge in threesomes or foursomes with very special people under very special circumstances.
You want to read number 2?
How did you meet your partner, and were you already active in the adult industry when you met your partner?
Read it again and we'll go from there.
Yeah. How did you meet your partner, and were you in the adult industry whenever you met your partner? So, we met about 5 years ago, and we had a lot of mutuals from both working in strip clubs, and so we just ended up following each other. One day I DM'd you pretending like I wanted to come and work at your club. At that point, I was already packing up my stuff to move to Vegas too. So I asked you if I could come and work at your club. You said yeah, come anytime. Weeks pass, and then you're going through your messages one day.
Yeah, I'm stuck on a tarmac waiting for an airplane to take off, so I thought I'd catch up on some of my DMs. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this really cute girl that wanted to come work. Let me message her. And then she messaged me back, be like, well, I live in Vegas now, so I really, I can't really work there unless I come into town. But I guess I was 90% messaging you to hit on you, 10% messaging you to, because I was interested in working there.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got to take the professional jacket off and flirt back, and I eventually, a few months later, went and visited her in Vegas, and
We did that for almost a year.
a year, kind of long distance back and forth.
Mm-hmm. I would come here sometimes. He would come to Vegas. And then eventually I moved here to be with you.
Yep.
We were both in the industry, at least strip club industry, whenever we met.
Yeah.
So,
We never worked together though.
No.
Not in the club.
no, key. That's important.
How did we meet? And were we already active in the industry when we met?
So we weren't active in the adult industry exactly when we met. And it's quite an interesting story, I suppose. You guys get the truth, unlike our families. We were actually, well, I had gone to a local dungeon play party starting to explore kink and BDSM. And this one was just kind of there.
Yeah, I was there. There were parties I went to, obviously as being part of the kink community. Yeah, I met this one there. We did not play that night.
No, he was very respectful.
Yeah, but we talked, we hung out, and we exchanged numbers, and she texted me the next day.
I did. I mean, wouldn't you? Come on. But no, the rest is just kind of history. We just kept chatting and exploring and getting to know each other, and then, you know, suddenly we're a couple, and we're having other people over, and then suddenly we're married. So yeah.
That's pretty much it. We weren't already active in the, like we said, the adult industry per se. So yeah, when we started that initial I guess jump or plunge into the adult industry, how did we have that conversation? It was a pretty simple one with us.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously going to play parties and such in the kink industry, we both are a little bit of exhibitionists to begin with, and it was kind of do we want to take this to the next level? We've got a chance, and we just kind of turned the camera on and popped on live stream.
Yeah, because we'd had that party, that we were, it was one of my birthdays, where we'd rented the dungeon, and we planned this really elaborate CNC scene with a friend of ours, and who at the last minute had to go out of town for a family emergency. And I remember looking at you being like, not that having a whole dungeon space to ourselves isn't awesome in and of itself, but I feel it might be just a little bit of, not a letdown, but anticlimactic.
Yeah, considering what we had.
Yeah. Yeah, and not that we wouldn't love it still, but I was like, is there anything we want to do or add? And I think you were like, you can always stream it.
Yeah, that's
And you're like, we can always stream it, which I was like, okay.
Yeah, so it just kind of started with live streaming, and we actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And found a nice little community, and we kept live streaming for a while, and as we were doing it, we started just kind of looking and branching, we love roleplay. Roleplay has always been a big part of our kink personal life. And what about videos? That can be fun, and it hits both of the fun sexual part, but also just the creativity, and it gives both of us a creative outlet. And then there's further conversations on branching out from there, solo and collabs and all that. Communication.
How did we meet?
Well, long story short, we met through an online dating site where I saw your handsome smile and your kind eyes, and so I reached out to you. But unbeknownst to us, we had a mutual friend in common.
Yeah. And when I saw her profile and what she was, what she was presenting, I was like, this is a really special person. And I didn't realize just how special that was, because when I was at that dinner party, this mutual friend had come in. This is 8, 9, 10 months prior to us ever meeting one another. Had come in and was singing the praises of this particular person, which happened to her. And then all these months later, I'm sitting in front of with her at a coffee shop, and all of a sudden, all the things that this woman had said about Pep started coming forward and into the front of my mind, and I'm like, whoa, is this that person that she was spouting off all these great attributes about? And I realized that this was a serendipitous moment.
We also discovered that we had so many other similarities of being in each other's orbits, but not actually meeting until we saw each other on the online dating site. So it was meant to be, and it is such a mutually supportive, beautiful relationship, and I am so grateful.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were already working in the adult industry, how did you let your partner know about what you do for a living? If you were not already active, how did you discuss getting started with your partner? Do you remember me talking about it our first date?
I mean, we both knew we were in the industry when we met. So.
Adult industry, yes, not
Right.
porn industry.
Yeah, we both knew we were in the adult industry. I don't know, you did talk about, I think, doing some online content and stuff when we met, but I guess it was kind of very much a part-time thing for you or whatever.
Yeah, and that was like really only
But it
paid sites.
really wasn't a big deal because in our line of work, everybody at one point or
Everybody
another
does everything.
has done online content. So.
How did I discuss getting started in the industry with you?
Well, before anything started, we, from the get-go, just established baseline boundaries and what we were and weren't comfortable with. As time goes on, you kind of get more acclimated to things, so you can discuss different avenues and
Maybe change boundaries you previously had.
yeah, and you get, once you kind of get your feet wet a little bit, it's a little easier to understand what you're getting into, and definitely have had numerous conversations over the years, and always made sure that we were communicating with each other to make sure that my needs were met and comfortable, and that you were comfortable with what you were doing as well.
Yeah, are definitely a lot of things I do on camera now in that initial conversation were boundaries that I wasn't going to do, but as time goes on,
Yeah, like I said,
you
once
reevaluate and you rehab the conversations and see if anything is kind of changed.
Yeah, I mean, and even today, if something new comes up or something that we haven't come across before, we always make sure we sit down and have a conversation about it and make sure that we're both comfortable with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Did we meet in this industry or did we get into it later? And that answer is that we got into it after we met.
Yeah, it's something we decided to do together.
Yeah.
Because of the magic and the beauty of our relationship and how people would comment on that and say, it is so beautiful to witness your love. We wanted to share that with more of the world.
Yeah. Well, how did we find ourselves at this present moment and on this present platform?
Well, in 2013, because of the beauty of our love and wanting to share that with the world, I had presented to you the idea of putting some adult content out there. The platform we were looking at wasn't quite the right fit, and it wasn't really the right time in our lives because of other circumstances.
Yeah, the principle was, though, more of an authentic, true to our relationship type of content that we wanted to create. So in, what was it, 2015, in like November of 2015, I had been like monitoring the campsites, and one in particular that I just really felt was really in line with what we wanted to present and was Chatterbait. And so I approached Pep and I said, hey, there's something I really want to talk to you about. And I said, do you have some time to really divulge in this? And I said, if you do, let's sit down and have a conversation about that. And he said, yeah, I do. So we sat on the couch like we are now, and I presented to her what I saw and where I saw what the content that we could create in the environment that we could create. And then I said, after watching some of the adult content creation that was going on Chatterbait, I'm not going to bring it up again with you, but let me know what you feel and how that strikes you as to whether or not you would be interested in doing that. And if that does interest you, then we'll even dive in further and really discuss the details of that.
So I watched the site for a while, not necessarily to get off, but just to see how things worked there. And I guess I was a little disheartened because I didn't see a lot of true heartfelt connection. I didn't see tenderness and vulnerability. Sure, there was sexy stuff out there, but with our tantric approach to our life, our relationship, and our lovemaking, I just felt we could really, offer people a, different alternative. And in the 10 years we've been doing this, it's really resonated super well with people and been received really well.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important parts was how we brought that to the attention of one another, and I think that's also a real key factor. It wasn't like we were in the middle of making love or whatever, and I'm like, hey, what about this? It was a intentionally based discussion and conversation outside of the bedroom that that we had plenty of time to talk about it, and if we needed to come back and revisit, there was that too. There wasn't any pressure or, okay, we got to make this decision right now. And I think that's also was one of the reasons in stabilizing factor of why we've been doing this for so long. I mean, we've been doing this as a couple together for 10 years.
Which is a really incredibly long
Really
time
long
in this
time.
industry, which unfortunately can tear relationships apart.
Yeah.
So we feel grateful that, we're still super solid.
Yeah.
It's normal for partners to get jealous. How do you navigate jealousy as a couple when one or both of you are adult industry performers? Do you have any best practices or recommendations for these types of conversations?
I don't know, maybe start with that one.
Why? Because I used to get really jealous.
Yeah.
I feel like from the point that we started doing porn, I have not been a jealous person. Yeah. But before we started doing porn, I was literally like clinically insane. I think that doing porn, I don't know, I think a lot of times as a girl, you're like kind of scared that your man is like sexually lusting after other people. And I think before doing porn, I had the mindset that sexual lust would lead you away from me, right? Now, since doing porn, I feel like you can have sexual lust with anybody, and it would not lead you astray from me at all.
Yeah, I guess from my experience of it is, I'm not a particularly jealous person anyway.
You kind of can't be when you work in the club a little bit already.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be with somebody in the adult business if I was extremely jealous. It's especially her role as an entertainer is much more interacting with customers on a it's a fantasy. It's a sexual tease. She's literally sitting on these guys' lap, entertaining them. Like, that is the fantasy. That is what's going on. So I don't think you can be particularly jealous and work in our business and date someone in our business and maintain it. But I'm not a jealous person by nature. I'm very secure in who I am. I totally separate, I guess, sexuality, sexual lust, and emotional feelings too. Like you can have sex with somebody and have no other, romantic feelings for them. And of course, having sex with someone you are romantically attached to is the best sex that you can have, in my opinion. But they are, to me, at least in my head, they're two separate things. So yeah, I guess I'm much more of a fairness person. I want, I want to feel like the rules are balanced in the relationship. That's much more important to me than. That's much more of a strong, I guess, motivator to my feelings than jealousy.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've ever felt jealous since we started doing porn?
No.
I don't feel like I have either.
No, if anything, it's like I want her to film. She films with girls. She films with guys. I film with other people. We filmed totally separate.
Yeah.
When we're not even there or present. She's filmed me. I filmed her. If anything, I want her to have good scenes. I want her to enjoy the people she's worked with. It's better if she's attracted to them physically it's better if the things are better if people get along.
Yeah.
I don't want to have romantic feelings, but I'd much prefer if she's filmed a scene with someone she's friendly with or cool with or gets along with than somebody she doesn't. It's just a better experience for her. I want her to enjoy her work. It's a job, but it is. I mean, come on, look what we're doing. It's supposed to be fun, and so if it's not fun, if she's not enjoying it, well, the entertainment is not going to be what we want it to be. Our product's not going to be what we want it to be. So, and then she's not going to have a good experience, and I want the same for myself too.
I think when a lot of people imagine dating somebody who does porn or works in the adult industry at all, they imagine like, I'm going out and having sex with like 100 men that day, and you're like at home crying about it. You know what I mean? And then I come home to you and I'm just like, nah, I'm like so tired from being fucked all day, and you just like hate that. And that's not at all what like our daily life even looks like, but that's what people think in their head. You know what I mean? When they imagine dating a porn star. You can have sex with somebody too, and then be like, all right, like I don't think I would work with that person again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let alone even like have romantic feelings for them. You can like not even like want to work with them again. So it's a huge range of experiences that you have.
Right. Yeah, just, I don't know. It really is just, I want the best for her. She wants the best for me.
We try to come off like very authentic too in our scenes.
Yes.
In general, we try to give a very, we want to like the people we work with. We try to give a very like real attraction feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best practice, I would just say, I would say it's better. I'd say if feelings do arise, one is, I think it's best to square yourself and be like, am I actually feeling this? I would say.
Okay, wait. Feelings of jealousy or feelings of attraction towards another person? Feelings of jealousy.
Jealousy, because,
Is this like a...
I don't think you
a
finding
feeling?
someone physically attractive is an issue.
No.
I want you to find your partners physically attractive.
Yeah.
You
mean feelings of jealousy?
Yeah, I think if some things arise, envy or jealousy or any other type of, I guess, negative feeling about your partner or what they're doing, I find it good, at least for myself, to one is kind of square myself and say, well, why am I feeling this, right? Really, and sit with it for a little bit, and then am I frustrated with my job? Am I did I have an annoying phone call today? Am I hungry? Am I tired? And then kind of see, is this just a mental state I am, or is this a genuine feeling? I think it's best to sit with it. Mm-hmm. And then if you should be accurately able to describe why I'm feeling it. Well, why is this emotion here? What is it that's worrying me, or what is that I'm afraid of? Or what is it that's about this particular situation or person or whatever that is bothering me? And you should be able to describe that to yourself in a way that makes sense. Maybe even say it out loud. Mm-hmm. I know. And if it sounds like nonsense to you, that's probably not the reason, or you're not being 100% honest with yourself or logical.
Yeah.
And then I'd say the final step is communicate that with your partner. Maybe they need some reassurance about a particular thing, or they just want some clarification on something, or maybe just by speaking it out loud, it kind of takes the power away from it. Sometimes there's people that I would not want her to work with, and it has nothing to do with jealousy. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's things I've heard, or just their persona rubs me the wrong way, or sometimes it's just a vibe. There are people out there that I just don't think would be the best fit, or it would bother me. And the list is pretty small, but I'd be able to at least describe the reasons why, I guess just persona-wise, I could point it out and at least articulate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that most things that come up for us anyway would be much more of like a slight feeling of discomfort over like true jealousy and envy. I think true jealousy and envy is much more directed at somebody or a specific situation where like most things just make you mildly uncomfortable or me
Right.
mildly uncomfortable, and you can just talk through that and work through that, and then it's gone and it's not a big deal at all.
Yes, I agree.
Well, jealousy is a normal thing. It's also not normal for it to be over the top. Like, it's normal to get it under control, in my opinion. So I think best practices type things are to take a deep breath, not catastrophize it, and realize that it's for this person's work, it's for their job, and maybe I'll take a deep breath. The maybe sarcastically there, by the way. So I'll take a deep breath and talk about it with her rationally, and we're calm and in a non-aggressive, non-confrontational way. Using, not to use therapy speak here, but you use a lot of I sentences, to not put blame or ridicule or fault on you, because if you've done nothing wrong, it's just jealousy is a part of it. And then also trying to realize what caused it, like what spurned the feeling, where did it come from, and then realizing and thinking inside, to yourself or myself, why, with what caused it, like what can I do to remedy this? What, because it's not just a two-person like conversation. You need to have a conversation with yourself, in my opinion, on what caused it. Where are these feelings coming from? Because generally jealousy, in my experience, comes from something you feel you can't provide.
Sometimes.
A lot of times, especially with two people that are in the adult industry.
Yeah.
I think, it's. I think that's where some of maybe a lot more jealousy at times comes from. So if there's something that someone's doing that is not something I can do or am not, it can be where it come from. Not always, not generally. I don't have a lot of jealousy, but at times when I have, where I felt that tinge kind of building, I'm immediately just like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Type of thing. You got any? Wasn't trying to hog that.
You're fine. Yeah, I think having been a polyamorous couple and being in the kink industry before we got into the adult industry definitely gave us a lot of the tools to deal with the unique types of jealousy that come into the adult industry. So, we've already had established boundaries and what types of conversations to have if we're going to go and play with somebody else solo. Well, that directly relates to going and collabing with somebody solo. So we already know, hey, I'm going to go and do this. This is why. This is the thing. This is the scene. So it's a full conversation. We already have that backbone. But that is honestly what it is, especially if you're just starting to go and collab. That would be the number one recommendation, is have that conversation with your partner. These are the things we're doing. This is why. This is the job, And there's nothing wrong with having some boundaries, too, as a couple. Like certain things that, no, this stays in our bedroom, and that's okay.
Yeah, and even as far as like saying like, hey, like if you're with if you're a partner, whether both of you are in the adult industry or not, you are allowed to have different agreements and say, hey, you I don't mind if you do this with other people, but let's save this for us.
Yeah.
I
think passionate kissing is probably the number one that people come across.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of really anything I thought of. I can't have come across, but yeah, I guess that could be.
Yeah, that's the number one that I hear from other people and other couples, passionate kissing. That's us. You can kiss, but this deep, passionate, kind of thing. And that's okay. And maybe that'll change. It's always an evolving conversation.
Right. I get that one, because I view passionate kissing like that as a more intimate thing than fucking.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah. So I can see that. I can see that.
So yeah, his cliches. It sounds it's communication, and it's setting those expectations and boundaries beforehand. And yeah, we were just lucky to have had that kind of foundation before we decided to get into the adult industry, so we know how to handle it when it comes up, which it still does.
It's normal for partners to get jealous. How do you navigate jealousy as a couple when one or both of you are in the adult industry? do you have any best practices or recommendations for these types of conversations?
On my end, we've only done one video together with another creator, and I did not experience jealousy, so I can't really, as me being the one that's normally the one doing these things with other people, I think you should answer.
I mean, so I've seen behind the veil, you know, like when it's not as glamorous or as intimate as a lot of people make it seem on film.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a job, and it, once you kind of get past that glamour and veneer of the adult industry, it makes it a lot easier to not have those jealousy issues or, you know, those kind of feelings that might come up if it was a more intimate.
Yeah, I feel like other people are probably better for this question than we are, because I feel like maybe other couples deal with jealousy more. I don't think we really have that dynamic in our relationship.
No, not really.
Like, it's not really. I have a hard time feeling jealousy in general as a emotion, but then again, like I said, I'm mostly the one behind camera. All I can really talk to is like in the situation where the one scene where we did film a threesome, because he's not on camera very often, and I looked at it as work. I was actually kind of happy for him, because he was like, you know, getting his things.
I mean, it's an experience.
Like,
that,
I was
you know,
kind of
most
happy,
people don't have normal.
like, for him to like kind of get that experience, if anything, because it's always me, you know, doing it or whatever. So I feel like I'm not threatened. For me personally, I'm not really threatened by sex. I would be more threatened by like a emotional connection. Like, I just don't. I don't think that somebody can get in the way of our emotional connection. So like, sex doesn't threaten me, because they could be like a better lay than I am. They could be better at giving head than I am. They could be all of those things. Like, I don't even need to be better than them. I could, if we did a threesome scene, I could see that girl definitely has way more skills than I do in that area, and I still wouldn't be worried. So I think that might be why I don't get jealous, because like, I'm not worried that he's going to be like, I want to be with this person now. And I think that he realizes that it's a job, and he doesn't do, I guess that aspect would kind of be from your end, because I work with men very seldomly on camera, and mostly women, but like, is what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, like I said, I know you, and I know how you feel about sex and intimacy in general, and I know that in order for you to like be enjoying it and being intimate with somebody, like, you have to have a physical connection with them, and that's not really what's happening when you're working with other creators, whether it's men or women. It's like I said, I've seen behind the scenes, and you know, I've helped film content and stuff, and it is not as glamorous as the industry makes it seem. So it's a lot less threatening when you get to, you know, peek behind the veil. And
also, like, sex is not my love language, so I don't know if these answers would differ from maybe people whose sex is their loving language. For me, that's not my love language. Maybe if it was, it would maybe be more threatening.
yeah.
But it's just not for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is it normal to feel jealousy in this industry? And to be honest with you, I think it's normal to have moments of jealousy regardless of what industry or occupation you're in. And I think the difference is how you approach that, and the choices you make in the way that you bring that up and discuss it. And also, I think it's really important to set with yourself what is behind the jealousy. You know, is it something that's like it's internal and it's coming from a past experience outside of your relationship, or is there something that's really causing you to feel jealous? And you know, there's an action that's actually happening. And I think it's really important to be very clear with yourself, so you can be very clear with your partner in addressing that sense of jealousy.
I agree. I think jealousy is just part of being human. It's a normal emotion that we all go through, whether we're in the adult industry or not. As far as navigating that when it comes up, it's just a matter of trusting that your partner has your best interest at heart, and allowing yourself to really be open and vulnerable about what you're feeling, even if that feeling is, a difficult feeling or difficult to talk about.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the other part of that is also creating an environment that both of you feel safe to share that vulnerability and not be dismissive of one another. I mean, it's great to have communication, but that communication is based on the ability to feel safe in communicating that. And so, especially in an industry that does involve something that's so intimate, like your sexuality or the exposure of yourself in such a vulnerable way, that it's really important that when we're talking with our partner, that we can equally express that intimate vulnerability.
And something you said too is to own your own feelings, not to point fingers or blame your partner for anything in particular that they're doing, but just recognize that feeling within yourself and take ownership and accountability of that.
Yeah, like, are you projecting your own insecurities from past experiences that have nothing to do with your relationship? Or is there really something there? It's like the old saying, count 10 seconds before you say something, just so you give your mind a chance to catch up with your mouth, or vice versa.
Okay.
When it comes to setting boundaries about adult work, collaborations, specific types of communication, or other comfort level oriented things, how do you communicate your concerns with your partner?
I don't know, you want to start?
I think that if you're gonna start doing porn, or you already do porn and you get a new partner, there are things like how I said, like there's like jealousy and envy, and then there's like mild discomfort. In the same way, there's like things that like would make me uncomfortable. How do I word this? Would make me uncomfortable in a certain scenario, but doesn't most of the time. Like things like telling people happy birthday, telling people good morning, things that are like more of like on a friend level. To me, that's like much more intimate than like working with somebody. And so you have to have things that are like a clear, no, I'm not okay with this boundary. And then things that are like, well, I don't want you doing that every day. You know what I mean? Or I don't want you doing that all the time. Or like, there are certain things in scenes where like, I'd want to talk about it before we did it. Where a lot of the times, I don't know. There's like real boundaries, and then there's like things that again are just like mild discomfort that like
needs
you
to be
work
discussed.
through. Yeah. And you need to know what your clear boundaries are before you start it.
Yeah.
Or when those arise, you need to be able to say that clearly whenever it happens. How do you communicate?
Yeah.
these
Okay.
boundaries?
So, I guess we have hard boundaries, which we have set up for ourselves. And like we have a veto rule where you can veto another creator or whatever from us working with. We have to abide by that. That's like an example of a hard boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's things that are, it's too, like she was saying, like certain types of communication might be fine in certain contexts or fine in certain amounts, but that is on I guess kind of a case by case basis, and it's also kind of knowing your partner. and being transparent, I would say, really.
Yeah,
know.
there are like people who like we work with who like I'd be very comfortable with you being friends with because I'm very comfortable with that person. But like I want to be friends with everybody we work with.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that.
And as far as, I guess transparency would range into if he replied back to someone's post, right? And that's transparent for everyone to see. What's said in public or whatever. I'm not like looking through all her account, but she's also not hiding anything. Is a lot more open communication is a lot more than I guess private DMs, and even those are specific to who it is and what's the context. Those things matter. It's too, I guess, there's too many inputs to really have hard rules for this. It's just basically about kind of knowing what your relationship is and respecting that overall boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like just how for like a lot of people, what we do would be cheating on each other, and it's not to us. There are things that we could do to each other though that would be cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So say we had a jealousy like concern. How would you deal with it? How would you approach like say me?
Yeah, that's
Is what it's basically saying.
yeah. I mean, it again, it's just having the conversation. I want to do this for this reason. It builds on my brand. It builds on this. What are the issues you're having with it, babe? What are your concerns? What are your worries? And so you just kind of start and you just kind of have that back and forth and that discussion. And at least for us, that tends to calm it. Or maybe he's picked up on something that I hadn't with the people. And I go, you know what? You're right. Let me go reevaluate the scene with them. That may have been pushing some boundaries.
True, because that's one thing that I think everybody needs to come to grips with and realize is that sometimes, occasionally, feelings of protection can kind of masquerade as jealousy.
True.
Or be interpreted. I should say, I'm sorry, can be interpreted from you. Like, say, if I get my back up, I'm like, because I can think of a couple examples.
Yeah.
Of where my instinct of mine kind of paid off.
Yes.
And, and it wasn't jealousy. And at first I honestly thought it was. I was like, where the fuck, is this coming from? And I was like, but then I was really like, this is not jealousy. This is legitimate concern, for your safety. And this may be a perfect example of how, of how to talk to you about it. Because I just was in a very calm, rational, matter-of-fact tone of voice, just said, I don't think this is safe, and laid my concerns out, very, which then you doubled down in looking into the person, which paid off.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a blessing in disguise having a partner in this industry when you're trying to do collabs, because you can have that back and forth. You can bounce those ideas around. And then on the flip side, it's also really nice because there'll be times that you'll spot somebody who does something that you think I would enjoy, that would be good for my videos, for my clips, whatever. And I'm just shy. Like, they've got twice the following I do. I don't want to talk to them. They're so much better up here for me. No. You're like, no, go do it. Here, I'll help you craft the message. Just reach out. The worst they're going to say is no. And, you're going to get a lot of no, and that's okay. But having you there to help poke and prod me on good things like that has been really nice, whether it's solo collabs or collabs together or whatnot. Like, it's been really nice to have you to help bounce those ideas off of and push me a little bit and help me stretch.
Oh, thank you.
Always turns out really nice.
That's so sweet and kind of you to say.
Yeah. And then,
But it goes vice versa. It goes both ways as well. Because, we all have those days where we're just not feeling totally our normal self-confident ourselves, and we need that extra support, and it's that's what a good partner is for, is to give you that support.
Yep, good business partner and good life partner.
Oh, so sweet.
When it comes to setting boundaries about adult work, collaboration, specific types of communication, and other comfort level oriented things, how do you communicate your concerns with your partner? Well, before I go into anything, I kind of bounce the ideas off of him. Specifically, when I am going to film with another male, I will bring the idea to him, kind of say this is like what I'm thinking, and bounce the ideas off of him and see what he's thinking and if he's okay with that and if he has any boundaries, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it always starts with a conversation. If it's something new that we haven't done before, or, if it's a new creator or something like that, like, we always have these conversations beforehand. It's really never been an issue because I know if I say no, it's, that's it. You've never pushed my boundaries or done anything that's made me uncomfortable over the years. So we definitely need that communication to make sure that we're both comfortable with what's being done. And
Yeah, I feel like knowing that you have veto power.
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's always been easy to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, and you've never once pushed that boundary. So
Yeah, so I think that, I think that we just talk it out, like we just talk it through and talk through the scene and kind of just like go through what's going to happen on the scene and just, do a run through and make sure that the partner is okay and, there's no boundaries being pushed, or if they do have any boundaries to add, they're adding it. Just, going into it, kind of like laying it out and seeing what you're both comfortable with on a case by case basis. Because things change and you want to check in and just.
yeah, it's all about communication, just keeping that line open.
All that good stuff.
So when it comes to setting boundaries within the work that we do, we always make sure that we communicate from our hearts in a very authentic and open way. And we also listen with an open heart so we can truly try to understand our partner and empathize with where they're coming from.
Yeah, I think that also is part of the intention based. It's very important to, know your intention both personally and together, because it's a collaboration even on your boundaries. You may be more comfortable with something, but you lean towards the lesser of the boundary. So you always never overstep that. And I think also it's important that boundaries, especially when you're getting ready to do something, that boundaries can always be limited before they're expanded.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can set, like, we're only going to do blowjobs. So let's say we're doing a collaboration and it's only going to be a blowjob, but somebody comes in and says, I want to see you guys fuck. And they might turn around and have this huge number that they want to, present to you. When you set a boundary, that boundary should never be changed, in my opinion. It can always be done another time, but that boundary was set there. And in that way, there's no one that's feeling like they're being pressured. But if all of a sudden you've set a boundary and you feel like, hey, you know what? I don't feel comfortable with that boundary anymore. You should not only feel, but know you have the right to pull back that boundary. Mm-hmm. And your partner, your collaborator, should respect that, support that, and stand and back you in that restricting of your boundary and pulling it back.
Absolutely. When those boundaries are clear, it leaves no room for questioning or for gray areas. And like Dusty said, we've set a certain boundary, but somebody will come into the room or want a custom video that's outside of our comfort zone. If we've established those boundaries and we've agreed to them and they're respected and upheld, there's no question about are we comfortable doing this? And it gets awkward in the moment.
Yeah.
Do you believe that adult content creators and porn stars have relationships just like everyone else, and why?
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but everybody that I've met, yeah. I mean, majority of people I've filmed with seem to be married or in a long-term relationship. I feel like, and our relationship's very normal. We do what we do for work, but outside of it, we very much have a typical family life. You know,
Yeah.
we go, we go to people's birthdays. We make dinner. You know, we go to work.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's anything that different from anybody else. Our work is a small part of our life, a bigger picture. And I think most people I've worked with, it seems like the same thing. Some of them, their partners do content. Some of them don't. But you know, I guess everybody I've worked with lately seems to be in a relationship, and but their partner knows where they're at and what they're doing. They're already fine with it. You know.
Yeah.
Most of them are calling and checking in.
Yeah.
When they get there, and then sending a text or calling or whatever when they're leaving. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like anything else.
I'll go first. Yeah, I think we have relationships just like everyone else. We're fucking human.
He's not wrong. I mean, yeah. Adult stars, porn stars, content creators, fetish stars, whatever. Yes, they all have relationships romantically or friendship-wise, just like everyone else. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The stigmatism is dumb.
But sadly, there's a reality, and in a lot of people's eyes, we probably don't have relationships like everyone else, and that's, for lack of a better phrase, fucked up. Because we should. There shouldn't be the stigma there, you know. But I understand that it's not everyone's cup of tea to. If I were trying to date someone else, you know, say we weren't together and I was trying to date someone else, it's not everyone's cup of tea to know that their person that they would want, you know, their maybe potential future partner has had their genitals all over the, you know, internet or, you know, whatever. It's not everyone's cup of tea to know that, but there shouldn't be an ostracized. You know, there shouldn't be an ostracized.
It's fine to have that preference, but it's not okay to have a judgment.
Right. Yeah.
That you're not dateable because of it.
Yeah. So we should have relationships like everyone else.
And
we do have relationships like everyone else.
Yeah, and it's one thing I think, at least talking to other people and all of the conventions and everything that we've done and such, that I think it's starting to break. Obviously, it's still there, but as the adult industry has become more independent, it's giving the creators that control, and I think that's helping to break that a little bit. Because you're no longer just agent telling you to do absolutely everything. You're doing it yourself. And so whether it's the confidence that's then helping the other person see confidence and understand you, or it's just because it's become so much more prolific. It's starting to. It's still there. You still see the conversations, but it's hopeful.
Do you believe that adult content creators / porn stars have relationships just like everybody else, and why? I think so. I think that people have a misunderstanding when it comes to a lot of creators' relationships. I just know in our situation, people love to tell me like I'm polyamorous, even though I'm not. We're monogamous, so that always kind of sets people back, and they're confused, and you know, because they just assume that because this is what I do like for work, that we have this open relationship. And you'd actually, I think, be surprised by how many couples in the industry don't actually have an open relationship. And like, yeah, that exists because, you know, if you're doing certain acts for a job and your partner, you know, has okayed them, I mean, some people might disagree. Some people might still say we're not monogamous technically, but I feel that we are.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we are, because at the end of the day, no matter who you're working with, like, they're not adding to or subtracting from our relationship. So, like, I feel like it's no different than, you know, if you have a coworker or a boss or somebody else that you're answering to in a professional setting. Like, it's not really.
It sounds weird to people that are not in it, because that it's like, yeah, but your coworker's fucking you.
Yeah,
so
but
like, I get the.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand how it would be hard for some people, but like I said, you be open and honest, and you have a good line of communication, and.
Yeah, I don't think our relationship is any different. I think when we go out with other couples, I don't think our relationship is any different than
No.
your average other relationship. I just happen to do porn.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's hard for people to understand if they're not, even people that are just watching and consuming, right? It's, you can tell people all day long, but I think unless you're in it, it probably seems a little weird, and that's okay. But yeah, I think we're in reality, not everybody else's reality, but our reality, I think we are like every other couple we know.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I feel that adult content creators, to the most part, and porn stars have relationships just like everyone else. With that said, there is an aspect of that that definitely creates a potential conflict, and that's the shame that a lot of times surrounds we as sex workers and people in this industry, you know. And so that sometimes makes it vulnerable at the upfront part of it. You know, we want to be honest from the very beginning of a relationship, but it's hard to be honest when you're discussing something that carries unnecessarily so much shame, you know, from the outside world. And I think that that makes it very difficult sometimes to know when and how to express that vulnerability as to who and what we do, you know, as individuals. And fortunately, Pep and I, you know, we started off together. I can't even imagine if something would happen to us in our relationship, which has never happened, but I can't even imagine what that would be like, trying to, even if we stopped doing it, you know, and we separated and we weren't doing it anymore, like, how do you even bring that up, that's out there? I mean, that, you know, when do you bring that up, or how do you bring that up? And you know, so from that perspective, you know, it's kind of a catch-22. You know, we are just like any other relationship, but at the same time, we're not.
Yeah, I mean, we are people just like everybody else. I mean, like you said, we do work in a very, you know, vulnerable area, dealing with people's sexualities and their fantasies and their kinks. It can be very, you know, highly emotionally charged. It can be, you know, sometimes mentally draining, because it's not just about the sex. It's about, like, you know, the camaraderie and the companionship, and we're fulfilling people's, you know, ache for connection and that loneliness sometimes. So yes, I mean, we do have relationships just like everybody else, but there are certain parameters that can, you know, be, you know, just a little bit more complex.
You know, there's ups and there's downs, and there's successes and there's failures and there's challenges and all those things. But I think some of those challenges, I think, really start at the very, very beginning because of the shame that is associated, unfortunately, around the sex industry.
What advice would you give to a creator who's struggling with their partner treating their career and adult work negatively?
I think that it really depends. I think there's just some people who, if you are doing adult work, that the fight will never end. Some people are just never going to be okay with it. They want to be okay with it. They don't want to have the feelings that they're having. And they wish they didn't, but I think some people will never be okay with it. And I think that you have to make a choice if you're going to end your career and try to do something else, or if, you know, maybe that's not the best situation, you're not the best fit. You know, for me, I've been in my career 20 years. I would never get past the talking stage with anybody who had an issue with it. I'm not willing or able to change my career on a dime. You know, it's something that I've put a lot of time into, and I am pretty successful at. So, I mean, it's really, part of my criteria for dating somebody is not that they had to be in the business, but they had to be accepting of my job and what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think too, what I would ask myself is, am I with somebody who is truly accepting of me? If you feel like being in the adult industry is a big part of who you are, and you like your job, and you don't want to leave your job, and you do well with your job, but more so if you feel like that's a big part of who you are. I feel like being in the adult industry is a big part of who I am as a person. I feel like performing, that is a big part of my personality. It's a big part of like what brings me joy in life. And your partner either needs to be supportive of that or leave. And you can leave your job for anybody you want to. But I would ask yourself if you are abandoning yourself by choosing them over what might be a big portion of your life.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, if I left my job, I'd be abandoning a big part of myself.
Yeah.
So if you're already in the adult industry, or you're trying to get into the adult industry, and your partner is having negative thoughts, conversations about it, unfortunately, it comes down to communicating. You're going to have to sit there and really delve deep and understand, where is the negativity coming from? What type of jealousy is it? What type of concerns are it? And you're going to have to address them. And like you had just mentioned with dating, you may come to the conclusion that you're just not compatible. And that's okay. And that's going to be a conversation and a decision to have to be made. Because you can't force somebody to like giant tits if they don't like giant tits. And therefore, you can't force somebody to like somebody who is in this line of work completely. They can respect you, and you should be able to respect the person. But being willing to be in a relationship is, unfortunately, a different layer, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, so if you're with any job that you have, I don't think your partner should be ostracizing you for it.
No, never.
And be treating you naked or negatively. Treating you naked for it. Should be treating you negatively for it. And so yeah, I think there should be a conversation.
Find out why. Where is it coming from? And hopefully be able to deal with those.
Yeah. And whereas most people, I think, would want to fight fire with this, I think you need to try to remain positive about it, and you don't want to stoop to their level and start ridiculing them.
Yes.
Like, I would say maybe bring a fire extinguisher to their fire and to put it out, and then to beat them over the head with it if they won't stop, and just so you can basically walk away from the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like you need to, like you said, you need to be willing to do that, you know, and don't feed into the sunken cost fallacy, you know, of, oh, I put so much time into this. That doesn't matter. Your mental health is more important.
Yes, it is.
You know, and yeah, if after a single conversation is had, you know, pretty much like, hey, this needs to stop. Where is it coming from? Let's figure this out. And if it doesn't stop, then yeah, you need to be able to walk. Sadly, you need to be able to have the strength and other support mechanisms to walk away. And I know that's a lot. It's easier said than done a lot of times, but your own personal mental health is more important.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, it all comes back to communication, digging in, positive communication, finding what's going on, what are those feelings actually, and are they things we can work around? Can we set certain types of boundaries and certain types of situations to help make both partners comfortable, not destroy a brand, not destroy someone's job, but still, you know, respect your other partner's wishes and whatnot? Or is this just like trying to have a baby, something we're just not going to agree on? And, well, I love you and I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I think it's time for us to split ways. You'll always have a place here, but our lives just aren't on the same path right now.
Right. It'd be the same thing if one of you wanted to become a truck driver, like long haul truck drivers on the road, you know, a lot, and the other one wanted a stay-at-home partner there with them all the, you know, like.
There are a lot of jobs that people don't think about and realize that could have those exact same repercussions, and they're just more normalized, so people don't really think about it. But yeah, that's a great example. Truck driving. I would say the big ones like astronauts or even doctors are very similar. You're away from home a lot. You don't get to see your partner a lot, and that may not mesh with your personality.
Right, exactly.
Your needs.
what advice would you give to a creator who's struggling with their partners treating their career in adult work negatively?
I think it depends, because I think that it is fair to, I think it is fair for somebody to not want to date a porn star, right?
Yeah.
I think that that is completely fair. So I think it differs in the situation. If it's a newer relationship, or especially if you were already doing this line of work and you're trying to date, or you're getting into relationships, or maybe it's even just a newer relationship and you know that this is like the avenue you want to go down, I think you need to find a partner that accepts that. I'm not saying there's not some conversations, to be had first to try and, but I think that that dynamic is different. And so in that case, find somebody that after you sit down and have the conversations of it, are they comfortable with this, that at the end of the day that they are comfortable, or that you can work within their boundaries. I think it becomes harder when somebody wants to get into this line of work and they are already in an established relationship, because I also do think that this is not for everybody. And it's hard because it's like, well, it's your body. You should be able to do what you want. There's like that aspect of it, but also like.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like if your partner's not comfortable and you're constantly pushing back on their boundaries, and it's, everybody has different boundaries for different things. So if you're trying to get into the industry and you're constantly pushing against that partner, like that might not be a good fit for you. Not everybody's a good fit for everything. But like, I think there is a way to go about discussing those things, but at the end of the day, like if this is what you want to do and your partner's not supportive of it, then you
got to choose what's more important.
You got to make a choice at that point, like whether
And it might not be this career path. Like I said, if you're just starting a relationship or you're already in this and you're to the dating field, I would say choose your career. But it just becomes a different dynamic, and there's. Unfortunately, and maybe some people would disagree with me, but unfortunately I am of the belief that like not everybody has to be down with dating a porn star. I think everybody should be respectful to other humans, and they shouldn't disrespect me because I'm a porn star, and they shouldn't like go and be like, I would never date some nasty porn star. Like, I don't think that needs to be happening, but I do think it's okay for a man or a woman to be like, that's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, people have different.
So it's hard, like, not knowing what part of the relationship they're springing into this.
Well, not only that, but like if there's already, trust issues or communication issues and stuff like that in the relationship, and you try to go get into the porn industry, like it's just going to exacerbate those things. Like it's just going to make everything amplified tenfold. So if you already have issues with trust and communication, like you gotta get that nailed down before you even attempt.
Yeah. So I think different answers depending on where you are, but I think it comes down to you have to choose what's more important to you. And I don't necessarily think that if you're with somebody who's gonna, and you're in that relationship is important to you, and it has been your relationship for a long time now, I don't think moving into a space where they're uncomfortable and they think negatively about this career is ever gonna work out well for you in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you can't open somebody's mind to something that they've closed off.
Yeah,
so.
You can have conversations and you can try and you can try to, but at the end of the day, until they are like comfortable with it and not like, you could keep having the conversations, but this isn't something I would jump into if they were reluctantly letting you, because honestly down the road I think it would cause more problems than do good
resentment
for you.
And things like that, and it's just gonna, like I said, cause more issues down the road.
Ooh, this is a big one. What advice would one give to a creator struggling with their partner treating their career and adult work negatively, which also means unsupportable?
I would say for the person who's engaging in the adult work and their partner, if they're not involved in that with them, is definitely bound to get jealous because we're dealing with sexuality, which is something, so intimate to our human experience. We're also sometimes creating emotional connections with viewers or fans or customers out there, which is all part of the fantasy. It's part of the business. So I think it's utterly important to let your partner know how much you love them, how much you are committed to them, how much of a priority they are to you, and have that, work life separation. If you're, engaging in your work and you're, with these clients and you're very sexual with them, and then you're like ignoring your real life partner, you have to look at that balance and maybe address what's going on. But just to let them know that they are a priority to you is crucial.
And to piggyback on that, I think this leads back to a prior question about boundaries and being clear with your own boundaries, and being clear with your partner in those boundaries. And especially if you're like a solo creator or solo performer, that's obviously even tougher because of what Beth was discussing. Those moments of jealousy and insecurity. At the same point, though, if you are approaching this from a very tender and understanding position, and they refuse to see that this is your career, this is your work, this is what you do for a living, and how you do what you do, and you enjoy what you do. Especially some of the cosplayers and all those kinds of things. It's like, then maybe as tough and as hard as this is, then maybe that might not be the right partner for you. And anytime that negativity towards your career starts leading towards belittlement, verbal abusiveness, then that's a no-go, period. End of discussion. And there's many support groups out there and organizations to assist in that. And but in no way should you feel that you're being belittled, berated, and abused in any way for what you do, because what we do is creative and should be viewed and supported by our partner.
Yeah, I would also like to add that I think it's clear to set boundaries around work hours. Like if you're camming, you're going to cam from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then when you log off, you are off. You are spending that quality time with your partner, whether it's going out on a date or you're watching a movie or you're spending other time together, that you can't be like looking at your phone and texting clients back or something like that. It's like equally spending time. It's like, this is work hours and this is time with my partner. And I'm not going to go over here and, text with these people or answer messages right now. Work hours are done. Now is my time to devote and spend with my partner.
Yeah, balancing. And that's something that happens in all facets of industries and, professionalism of work and everything else. And sometimes we get so lost in what we do that we forget our relationship.
What would you say is a key aspect to a healthy and happy relationship? What would you say is a key aspect to a healthy and happy relationship is as an adult content creator?
I don't feel like that's any different than just a happy and healthy relationship for anybody. I don't feel like being an adult content creator changes that.
Yeah.
I'd say, hearing each other's needs, making each other feel seen and listened to, supporting each other, in their dreams and goals, communicating with, each other, checking in, making that other person feel special and in ways that land with them. And I'd say that's kind of universal.
Yeah, anything that I would say is pretty universal. Very clear communication. caring about your partner's feelings, caring that they feel heard, things like that. But that's very much any relationship.
Yeah.
Key aspect to a healthy and happy relationship: communication. I would say that's the key aspect to having a healthy and happy relationship, no matter what industry you work in, whether it's the adult industry, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a astronaut. I would say communication is the key.
Communication, and then to add on to it, setting aside time for yourselves. So I know, especially with us, we do a lot of filming together, and so early on there was several conversations of, we need to set this day, this time aside for just us. No cameras, no nothing. Even if we're just vegging on the couch and just talking or talking. Being able to set aside that time, working with your partner is something they tell you not to do all the time. So that was definitely a big conversation once we started seeing how much we actually really enjoyed being in this industry and wanted to continue to build it and grow in it. Like, we need to set, these boundaries. Filming on these days, just us on these days.
Or not even that. Like,
or time to go see friends and party.
No, you're right. No, you nailed it. You had everything. What I was getting ready to say wasn't gonna apply. Yeah, no, you nailed it on the head there. Like, just upsetting is the time, which requires communication.
Yep.
So you keep those lines open, and if you're open to your partner talking to you, and which sometimes, I think you have to realize, everyone needs to realize that, oh, my partner isn't always going to know the perfect time to come and talk to me about something. I might not be in the best of moods, or I might be thinking about something else or doing something else. And you need to be able to take a deep breath.
Okay. We'll have this conversation in a couple hours. Let me know when you're ready.
Or just put aside what put aside what you're thinking about at that point, at that moment. And
you mean compromising from both sides?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
What would you say the key aspect to a healthy and happy relationship as an adult content creator?
Well, we've said the word communication probably 500 times.
I don't think it changes depending on what. I don't think it makes any difference on if your partner and you, or just your partner is a porn star or not. I don't think it makes any difference from actually our relationship to like normies relationships. I think that I think that it's the same answer actually always, which I think communication is just the number one aspect to make a healthy, long-lasting relationship. And we have stated we don't deal with any jealousy in our relationship. We've been together for 15 years. And the reason why is because we communicate. We talk about everything.
Yeah.
Like, even things that might be uncomfortable, and we can be honest with each other. Like, for me, most of my things I film are, purely work. But there was one film I filmed and it was like an orgy scene. And I told him, I'm like, it was actually a lot of fun. It was a fun experience. And he was okay with hearing that, I was just like, yeah, it was actually pretty fun too. And kind of I'd never been in that kind of experience. So I enjoyed that dynamic of it. And him being fine with me saying that. Cause I don't know.
Because at the end of the day, you're still performing sexual acts on screen, and for me, I don't want somebody doing that kind of stuff if they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So you should still be able to get some sort of, I don't want to say pleasure, but sense
I think it's okay if you do.
I feel like you should still get some sort of sense of
yeah, you should be able to have fun with it.
Yeah, nobody wants to do a job that they don't like. Nobody wants to do a job where they hate it, and that's extremely, fitting for sex work. Nobody wants to do it if you don't want to do it, you know? So yeah,
It's just that open communication and being able to have that open communication and being able to be honest and raw and like talk things out and like, yeah, I mean, I know the question states as an adult content creator, but I think that that is the key to a healthy, happy relationship
regardless,
in general.
Yeah.
So we actually get asked this next question quite a bit, and that is, what would you say is the key aspect to a healthy relationship, not just as adult content creators, but in general?
I think probably one of the absolute key factors in it is intention. You know, like, where are you coming from, and being able to communicate that. It doesn't mean you're always going to agree, but if you can communicate that clearly, and both of you can feel heard, and your opinions both feel valid and validated, then it makes it much easier for what you're doing. And again, if you have those boundaries that are clear, and that's all part of that intention, then it makes it easier to feel comfortable and feel secure and safe, which is all we all want, just to feel safe in our relationship and feel valued in our relationship.
Mm-hmm. And whether or not you're an adult content creator or not, I would say a key aspect of a healthy relationship is prioritizing each other, right? Really being there for each other 100%, no matter what's going on in your life. That's how we approach it. Like, if we were supposed to get on cam, but one or the other of us is just having a really challenging day, or we're struggling with something emotional, we don't push it. We don't say, come on, we got to work, or we got to create this video, right? We make sure that we communicate, that we prioritize each other, that we, support one another, even if that means, hey, let's go get out in nature and calm our nervous systems, or let's have a deep, heartfelt discussion and get to the bottom of what's going on, so that when we do go and approach either being on cam or creating that content, we know that our relationship is 100% solid. We're both in the right headspace to, continue that work, because it shows those little emotional nuances. If we're not completely present, that's going to show.
Yeah, and that then feeds, that healthy aspect, And if you feel safe and you feel like you can rely on your partner and be open and be honest and be genuine, this is a really important part of that, to turn towards one another and approach life together, not as, this is your issue, this is your problem. No, this is our problem. We'll figure this out, and we'll fix this, or we'll celebrate this together.
Absolutely.
If you collaborate with other people outside of your partner, do collaborations ever cause jealousy in your partnership? And how do you balance validating each other's concerns in situations where jealousy comes up? For me, I feel like that ties back into, is this true jealousy or is this mild discomfort? I think it's very common to feel mild discomfort in all types of situations, in all types of relationships, and you need to decide if that discomfort is something you want to overcome for your partner or not. I feel like now at this point, I truly enjoy you filming with other people. I enjoy filming you with other people. I enjoy watching. I want you to really like her and make her feel good and things like that. Like, all that's really important to me, so I don't even feel mildly discomfort now. If I ever feel jealous, I ask that you wouldn't collab with that person.
Yeah.
And that would have to be, I would have to actually feel jealous for a pretty valid reason.
For me, I mean, I don't really feel jealous that way. If I had concerns, I would just voice it, and a lot of times I'll just let it be her choice. Really, unless there has to be a valid reason for me to get in the middle of a collaboration, and usually it has to do with things outside of jealousy. More professional things or safety related things. But I'll be like, if there was something that gave me a concern in interaction she had with this person, I would I trust her enough where I'd be like, hey, are you okay with this interaction that you had with this person? Would you be okay if I did that same interaction? And you know, if she answers yes, then I generally believe her. And I feel like that's a level of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I can think of a perfect example for this question, and that was a scene we shot a while ago, where from across the room, I heard someone ask you if you were wanting to participate in an activity that was overstepping a boundary that we had. Because it was, I'm trying not to give away exactly what it was, so I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Because no one deserves that in this situation. But I'd heard from across the room, you say yes to a boundary that was overstepping, participating in an activity that was overstepping a boundary that we had set. And mainly just because it was something we were working towards with you.
Yeah.
And we were getting very close to it. And so it would have been giving you the reward a little bit too early and then depriving me of kind of helping you through it in a sense, and just not being able to participate in it. And regardless, it was and irregardless, it was overstepping the boundary. You had in your mind thought this is never actually going to happen, but all I had heard was you say yes.
Yeah.
And at the time, we're in the middle of a scene. I can't really yell like, "Hey, what the fuck," which I would never do anyways. But you had to shelve the feelings as I kept an eye on things and realizing that things went the way you had said, but it was still that you'd say yes to it. And we talked about it later, rationally, calmly. I took a few moments even after we had left the location, and to gather my thoughts, gather my feelings, so that it wasn't just a yelling or even just coming across even as just aggressive because you hadn't done anything wrong, but it was, and I thought you in that situation did an amazing job of just listening and actively listening and validating my feelings by just listening and not accusing me of overreacting or anything, of just listening and
Listening, validating. Yes, I understand. I hear. You are correct, and I'm sorry. Sorries go a long way. But then it also kind of reminded us that the core of all of this and what this all comes back down to is communication and constant communication of reevaluating boundaries and reminding of boundaries. And it kind of reminded us that it had been a little while since we'd had that conversation. And we needed to have it again, especially as we're continuing to expand and grow right now. We're doing more collabs. We're reaching out into different fetishes and kinks and such. And it's like, you know what? You're right. This is the time. Blessing in disguise, I guess. Let's have this conversation again. Let's reevaluate those lists and those things because they've definitely changed since we started.
yeah. And what was the result of that conversation? Was it a fight? Was it a sour mood?
No.
Or I mean, no. But I was thinking, was it a sour mood or anything, or was it?
I mean, it was a conversation, but
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to say,
came out
but
of it
yeah,
positively.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was trying to get that facetiously, of that it was. We both walked away from that conversation. I think maybe not in like a happy-go-lucky mood.
No,
but not in a bad mood, in a good mood. Yeah, if anything, yeah.
Proud of ourselves.
Yeah, if anything, proud of ourselves for handling it the way we did, and being able to move forward and move on because we had other collabs that we needed to do within those couple days.
And customs.
Yeah, so I mean, it paid off.
It did.
Because if I had gone into that situation all yelly and just like, type of actions, it would not have resulted in those feelings.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm trying to say here is that maybe sometimes don't always do things aggressively. Approach things with care.
With care.
And
It's okay to go, hold on, we need to talk, but give me 10 minutes. Go step outside. Go take a walk, get some fresh air. Smoke a little if that's what you're into.
yell at a tree if that's what you need to do.
Yep, trees are really good at listening.
So yeah, I mean, just to get that.
Let that initial out so that you can come into the conversation in a more neutral tone and have a be able to have a positive outcome from it like we did.
If you collaborate with other people outside of your partner, do collaborations ever cause jealousy in your partnership? And how do you balance validating each other's concerns in situations where jealousy comes up? I mean, we've already kind of touched on this. We don't really have that.
No, I mean, yeah, like I said, we discuss everything beforehand. We figure out what I'm cool with, what she's cool with, and we set those boundaries well before the fact. So
Yeah.
And if at any point one of us says like, "Hey, I'm not cool with this," then that's the end of it. It's that puts the kibosh on it.
And I think that it would maybe open us up to an area where jealousy could seep in if we didn't have such a secure relationship. I think that like, I know that like we keep giving this like answer of like, we are never jealous and blah, blah, blah. But we have a very secure relationship. Yeah. So I think if we didn't, then realistically, I think it would open the door for maybe jealousy to seep in. But because we put so much time and nurture into our relationship, like we spend so much time together, we still date each other, like we're each other's best friends, we like to hang out with each other. That I think leaves it so like, it closes that door, because it's like, yeah, you might be having sex with someone on camera, which like he has said behind the scenes, he knows it's stop and go and check the angle and and some of it's you're faking some of it, a lot of it, and so like he knows that like aspect of it. So that just combined with the fact that it's like she's not gonna go hop up and down on this guy's junk for a scene, you know what I mean? And then like fall in love with him. Like he's not going to be able to have the relationship with her that he has with me. Like,
yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I said, it's definitely work. And like once you get past that glossy veneer of sex work, like it's not as glamorous as
I think a lot of it
it looks from the outside.
Is more so work we just put into our relationship as a relationship,
Yeah,
like it doesn't even so much be like, oh, because I'm a porn star we have to like do all these added steps. I think we're just always doing that in our relationship.
Yeah, I mean, we've built a solid foundation for almost a decade before you got into this industry. So like it's just another path on our life together.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to like, I don't think this is like the type of industry a non-secure couple should get into. Yeah. I think if you have any problems in your relationship, or in my personal opinion, if problems arise, you should take a pause and you should go work on your relationship. Because like while, we have never experienced that, we have always had a solid relationship while doing this work. Also, sex is not my love language, so we got to throw that in there. That could play a part. And also, I do not experience jealousy as a human emotion it is, for me as a person, I don't know about for you, but for me as a person, it's very, very rare that I feel the emotion of jealousy. So I think that all of these are also, maybe things that other people might not be able to relate to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to depend on the person, and type of relationship.
So many factors.
But at the end of the day, communication is the first step to any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that you also I don't think you're really a jealous person.
No, I've never really been a jealous person. And
if one of us were, I don't think this would be the line of work. So I think there's just like a lot of factors, and it comes back down to this is so not the line of work for everybody, and that's okay.
So we've occasionally done collaborations in the past. Do those collaborations ever cause jealousy in our relationship? And if they do, how do we balance validating each other's concerns in situations where it does occur, where that jealousy does come up?
Well, to clarify, part of this question is also asking outside of our partner. So you and I have chosen to always collaborate together. But again, I think that we go back to those boundaries and the intentions set behind those boundaries, which if we follow that, it allows our partner to feel safe. And we shouldn't feel restricted as content creators, but at the same time, we should also be respectful of those boundaries. If there's certain things that really are concerning to our partner, we should also hear that and listen to that, because they may see something or feel something that we're not seeing, because we're in the midst of it. And again, always framing everything we do with the intention. What is the intention of what we're doing? The collaboration. Are we doing this because we just want money? Because we got to pay a bill, or are we doing this because we really want to do this? Are we collaborating with somebody just because, again, I need the money, and I think, especially when we're dealing with somebody that's not doing what we're doing. And so regardless if you're collaborating with someone together as partners like we do, or you're collaborating with someone that's outside of your partner, I think it's the intention, and then having that discussion with our partner and making sure that they understand what those intentions are and what those boundaries are, and not violating those boundaries.
Yeah, I think, again, like we said before, making sure your partner knows that they are priority. If that jealousy does start to come up, just recognize it in yourself. There's nothing wrong with, if you're live streaming, turning the microphone off for a minute and just kind of regrouping and gathering each other. Because, in our collaborations from time to time, I know small jealousies have come up. Another thing is also, I know for me, if I am feeling a little left out or jealous, I just need to be bold of inserting myself. If you're interacting with another woman or something, I can recognize that, oh, I'm feeling left out, and not sit and be a spectator, which is exciting and fun sometimes, but also saying, hey, I can go in and hug you from behind or kiss your neck or something like that, and kind of be bold to insert myself.
And it's also important, as me, as a partner and collaborator, to be aware of those, including Pep, to be conscious, of that environment, not become so involved in it that I lose track of what's going on around me. And it's also my responsibility as well to make sure that Pep is feeling a participant in it, and vice versa. Because jealousies can happen the other way around. And also making sure that the other party that is engaging with us feels welcomed and at ease, and that we are a team in what we're doing and creating. And again, I think that those, setting those intentions and honoring those intentions and respecting those intentions also help with the jealousy. Now, a side note to that is that, sometimes in studio porn, you're writing a contract and you're signing a contract, so you're becoming legally bound by that contract. So again, prior to engaging in the actual signing of that contract, you should review that with your partner, and let them read the contract, let them be involved in that. So if they see something that they're concerned about that could create a moment of jealousy or insecurity, that gets discussed before you sign a contract. And once you sign that contract, you're not going to be able to back out of it as easily, and regardless if your partner's jealous of it.
Yeah, and I think the question itself, validating each other's concerns, right? Not belittling your partner or chastising them for feeling jealous, or saying, well, just get over it and dismissing them. Is validating them and understanding and empathizing with any emotion that might come up.
Yeah, being proactive rather than reactive. That part of that proactiveness is prior to entering into the actual contractual part of something, is to have read it, understand it, and discussed it with our partner, what those legal and binding obligations are, and that goes for anything, but especially in something like this.
Has working in the adult industry caused any significant or positive personal revelations? Say that again?
Revelations.
Revelations.
Yeah.
For you.
I don't know. I guess it's made me more accepting of people. I would say that. Absolutely. I feel like I was already pretty accepting of people in my gentleman's club career. I feel like doing adult content with other people has made me more accepting of people as a whole. I don't know. I never really felt like a judgmental person anyway. But if anything, it's made me a lot, I guess, more understanding of people inside and outside of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a very sweet answer. I feel like for me, mine was much more focused on myself. I feel like I gained a lot of confidence in myself and in our relationship actually through doing content with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's made me a lot more secure in myself.
yeah.
I don't want to speak for you, but I think it has.
Yeah, I mean, definitely has. I'm trying to think of any negatives outside of the little bits that we've already talked about.
And those aren't really full negatives in that sense, you know.
No, but
But I can't really
yeah.
think of any negatives.
Yeah, there's been a ton of positives. If anything, I've been able to have the chance to explore new kinks and new fetishes, find out new things that I'm into. I've always identified myself as being extremely submissive and like 100% submissive. That's my identity. And as we've continued to do this, I've found with the right person or the right role play in the right situation, I do have a little bit of a dominant side. Yeah, she's a little bratty and a little caretaker-y. She's not your hardcore rough dom or anything, but I've had fun exploring those things. And it's been nice. And it's been nice being able to explore those things with you, even, you know. And so.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Like I can't think of anything negatively at all. Like, but I can definitely think of some positives. Some positive things that come out of being able to explore some just new and different fetishes or kinks that I probably normally wouldn't have, and nothing just because it wouldn't have been something that I would have thought that like you or I were into or realized just because But I can't think of anything negative. I think a lot of positives. A lot of positives. If anything on the relationship level, like on the outside of like sex, bedroom type stuff, I'd say the working adult industry has helped us improve and our communication skills, and to also helped us to make certain that they're still open and still the lines are there, which I think is a big positive.
Definitely.
Neither of us have fallen into that complacent relationship kind of rut that some people fall into because of it.
Yeah, it's definitely helped keep the spice.
Has working in or dating someone working in the adult industry caused any significant negative or ever positive personal revelations for you?
I don't think there's been any serious negatives. I mean, we're always kind of cautious about like what is available online, whether it's like keeping my anonymity or like, people trying to needle into our relationship in one way or another, whether it's,
Yes.
people on social media or whatever, and the expectations or the assumptions that they make about our relationship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of a negative when, it's a little extra thing that you do have to deal with when you're, a public-facing person. But on a positive note, I mean, I will say we've definitely grown healthier, I would say sexually. I mean, we've just, off camera have experimented more. We've been more open and honest about what we want in the bedroom. I mean, not that we were ever like prudes, but like, that's definitely something that has changed through the course of your work.
Yeah, I think I think when you're forced to have to be sexual more often, you kind of start having to ask yourself questions you wouldn't normally maybe ask, or I don't know. I feel like I was always more sexually reserved before my line of work, and I kind of opened up out of my shell more sexually through this line of work, and I think that has been a positive. in
Well,
a relationship.
I mean, not only that, but like this gives you an avenue to like experience things because you're bisexual. We got married, and we're together for a very long time. You didn't have any relations with women before we got together, so you didn't really get to experience bisexuality at all. So
a little bit.
I mean, a little bit, but like, I mean, it not on the same level as after you started making content. So, like, even though the emotional connection isn't there, like, it's kind of cool for you to get the opportunity to, play on the other side of the field and see how it goes for you.
Yeah, I guess I agree.
So has working in the adult industry caused any significant negative or positive personal revelations?
I think working together in the adult industry has actually strengthened our relationship. It makes us, have to be extremely clear and open in our communication, especially if anything like happens on cam, or if we get presented with, an offer to do a custom video that's outside of our boundaries. We just really have to communicate openly about that. We have to be in the right mindset. We have to take care of and prioritize each other before we make any content or get on cam. So I think in that way, it has been positive in strengthening our relationship. It also gives us a really fun creative outlet. We love each other so much. We love making love. So the fact that we get to do that either on cam or in, like, let's say a fun custom video or something that's been commissioned from us, it's given us a really fun, enjoyable creative outlet too. And I love that.
I think one of the positives for me is that, we've had so many people come in to our camming space or commented on our content creation about, wow, you guys are just so inspiring to witness and watch your guys' love and your creativity and the way that you look at one another and look into one another, not just through one another, is inspiring. And to see so many couples that have entered into, content creation or camming, adult content, that have imploded. I am personally really touched that you and I have been such an inspiration to so many to find their own authentic way of expressing themselves, sexually, whether they're on cam, off cam, whether they're creating content or not, but to really do it from their own perspective rather than chasing other people's perspectives, but really center in on what they enjoy and what they value and create that.
Yeah, it's an honor to be relationship role models for people and to inspire them not only to have better sex lives, but to have better relationships.
And to have better adult content as well.
Yeah.
And what they view as being fun for them.
What is your favorite thing about your partner?
She's very intelligent, and that ties in. That in itself is not my favorite thing. It ties in. She's very intelligent. She's very creative. She's very driven. She's great ideas. She's somebody I can communicate with that because she's smarter than me, so that helps. But I can bounce things off of. I can have real conversations, and I get things out of those conversations. She is the person I go to with a lot of things, to get her opinion on or her input, and even at times when she says something that maybe isn't my exact vision or my exact goal or whatever, it does. It weighs in on me, and maybe it changes certain things for me for the better. It does. And then sometimes she says something that I'm like, cool. Why didn't I ever think of that before? But I feel like her input has always been valuable to me, And that helps in all aspects of my life, personal, work, career, all those things. So, I have a lot of goals in and outside of the industry, and I feel like she's definitely helped me with all of that.
That's sweet. I have a lot of favorite things about you. I feel like a couple of them tie in together. I feel like you're extremely, like radically supportive. Where like any kind of business idea or dream or anything that I have that I am interested in, even the small crafts and things that I do for our house, you're very supportive of like me spending time doing those things. And with any like kind of business idea, I feel like you're very supportive in the sense that you're like, yeah, that'll totally make money. Like you can totally do that. That and like I feel like you see me those two things kind of tie in together, but like you've never been like judgmental of me in terms of like being a whore or like a slut or like
We're both sluts, so it works out.
it does work out, but it means a lot. You know what I mean? Like I think that it's kind of rare to like really feel accepted by people now.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you see me and accept me and really support me.
Well, I think she can do anything that she wants. She is very smart, and she has great ideas. So, I mean, if I thought she had a dumb idea, I'd tell her, but they've all been pretty good. And I truly believe in her ability to accomplish whatever goal that she wants to, and I try to motivate her to do it because I do want to see her accomplish the things that she wants and be successful.
I feel like a lot of relationships, people kind of, I don't know, like kind of try to keep each other small, and I feel like we really have a lot of room for expansion and really try to support each other.
Yeah, I feel like some of that ties into jealousy with people.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. They're afraid if this person
Does
makes
so
it
much
too
better.
big or
Yeah.
does too well in this area that they will leave them in the dust.
Yeah.
But I think those people are creating a situation where they're manifesting, they're creating the situation where if that happens or even if it doesn't happen, that person's gonna leave them because people have their goals and dreams, and if somebody's constantly holding you back from it, you're creating a situation where you're building resentment against that person. Or,
Yeah. It's like a self-fulfilling.
yeah, and then it kind of makes they're worried about you leaving. You're guaranteeing it. Yeah.
Well, outside of your amazing good looks and the things you do to me in the bedroom, I'd have to say you're caring and your creativity. Like you've definitely taken care of me before and throughout this. I mean, there are ups and downs in the industry. Videos you put your heart into that just don't sell, and you've always been there to help bolster me back up through it. And then just creativity, you get accustomed. It's like, I just want to see you masturbating in a cyberpunk world. Like, okay, for 15 minutes. Okay, I can do that. That's fun, but what can I do to make it better? And you're always just so creative and right there to help bounce ideas off of. And what if we do it this way? Or what if we do it that way? Or what about adding this cool little thing to it? And it's been really nice.
Oh, well, thank you. That's sweet. I'm touched.
What about me?
So my favorite thing about you, besides, apart from your obviously amazing, beautiful looks, no, what I really love about you is your patience and your understanding and your support. That's there. That I know if I have a rough day or if whatever's getting me down, that you're there. That I can talk to you about it. And that you're not going to judge me on anything. You're not going to, condemn me for anything. You're just going to listen and you're going to be there. You're going to give me a hug if I need a hug, and you're going to give me help if I need help. And you're just going to listen if I need to be heard. I'd say that's what I love about you the most.
Well, you're welcome.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
What is your favorite thing about your partner? I mean, she's like the package. So Like that. But if I had to narrow it down, honestly, it's probably how caring you are as a person. I've never met somebody more empathetic in my entire life than she is. She cares about everybody and will move heaven and earth for the people that she loves. And it's always been one of the most endearing traits I've had the privilege of experiencing. And that's hands down my favorite thing about you.
It's hard to take a compliment. I feel uncomfortable. My favorite thing about you is, I don't know, there's so many things. Like, just who you are as like a person, like your intelligence, your caring nature, like your open-mindedness. Like, it's hard to like break it down into like one thing because there's like so many, like,
I know, I'm so great.
You're like, you know, the way you want to like keep learning different things, and you just like, you know, your skill set just never ends. I don't know. It's just like a bunch of things together that like make you this like awesome human being, and you're just like the best human I've ever met.
So, what is your favorite thing about me?
The same thing that I recognized on our very second date. And that was your authenticity, your openness of communicating even some things that are really vulnerable, which set the stage that has been consistent through all these 15 years of our relationship. And even as adult content creators, that same open, vulnerable, genuine, honest, authentic, even though sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's hard. That is the beauty and the love I have and dedication to you that will never change, regardless of what we're doing.
I love that. Thank you.
And what would you say is mine?
So, again, people asked us that quite a bit. And one of the first things that always comes to mind for me is your selflessness. How you just show up whenever I need you, whenever someone's relying on you, whether that's friends or family, you're just always there. Even if it's hard for you, even if you have a lot on your plate, even if you're not at 100% your best, you just give, and you have such a generous heart, and it is so inspiring to me, and I am so grateful for the way that you always 100% have my back. I'm getting a little teary about that.
Oh.
I love you.
Society often deems porn stars as undateable or not marriage material. How does that stigma make you feel?
I mean, I do understand how society views us, and I think I've had this conversation with her before. Like, people don't really, it doesn't matter if you're doing solo videos on OnlyFans or you have, to the general public, I mean, or having, 5-person, 10-person orgies, they're gonna
What if it's
look.
1,000? Do you think that they look at us the same?
They look at I think most people outside of the industry totally, just the man on the street looks at it all the same. You're doing porn, you're on the internet, you're doing this, it's I don't think they're like, oh, that might be worse, but you already crossed the threshold to where you seem undateable, or they won't date you. You already crossed that line. The line was crossed when you made your account.
Yes, yeah.
So
Even if that was just like bikini pictures, probably. Now you know,
yes, I mean that crosses the line for a good number of people, and it,
you
know,
have the account. That's what matters.
and I said, was talking earlier that most people I know in this business are in relationships, and
Yeah.
From what I can tell, most of them seem pretty healthy and happy. I won't say all of them. I don't know I don't know these people's personal lives by and large. But most people I've worked with and interacted with are in relationships. We know them. We know their Someone we know their partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get how society looks at it, and I think they're looking at it from their own perspective, where it's like, well, I could never date someone that does that, and that's fine. I wouldn't want to date, if she was an airline pilot, I wouldn't want to date her. She'd never be home.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, or if she's in the military. I don't want to date someone that's going to be overseas for 9 months or a year. If a situation happened now where she had to go and travel or something, I could be accepting of that. But at least on the short term, but I'm not going to start out there with somebody. So if you can't date somebody who does sex work, no matter how much everything else about them you like, you're causing a lot of discomfort for them and yourselves by pursuing that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I don't care at all. Literally not even a little bit that's how people feel about sex workers. It's in the same way I wouldn't date most of them. I also feel no shame about my job. I do think that some creators definitely struggle with that. I feel no shame at all about my job, not even like down to the last crumb in my body, It's never been something that I felt a lot of shame about.
Yeah, I don't feel any shame. I could give a shit less about what other people think about dating or dating a person in the adult industry that's in sex work. I also compartmentalize my life. I'm not telling everybody I interact with and everybody about the different things I do in my life for work either. One is they probably don't want to hear it, so I'm not going to rub things in people's faces. Two, I don't know, I'm a very private person now. It's none of your fucking business, you know? Like, I don't want to explain to you. I don't want to justify things. So if they find out, they find out. I'm not going to throw it in their face, but I could give a shit less if they do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's kind of ridiculous to say that anyone is undateable or anyone is not marriage material. I think those that say that really need to look inside themselves and realize and think and figure out why they're saying that. What's making them say that? What bit of ugliness inside them is causing them to say that?
Yeah, he said it perfectly. That's exactly it. Where does that come from? 'Cause that's something inside you. We're people. We're human.
Well, most of us are. I'm not. I'm just joking.
So yeah, and hopefully we continue to grow as a society and continue to break it.
Society often deems porn stars as undateable or not marriage material. How does that stigma make you feel? I think it's completely false, and it doesn't make me feel any type of way because I think it's laughable. I know so many women in this industry. I know so many happily married women. I know so many women that even if they're not happily married are being heavily sought after. I promise, there is no lack of, because it comes from the women's perspective. Okay, this stigma is put on women, not so much the men in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And so all the women that I know that the idea is no one wants to settle down with her, no one wants her, she's this, that, and the other. There's no lack of male interest if they're into men. There's no lack of there just isn't. And I know so many people in this industry that even aren't even publicly out in their relationship. They don't share that aspect, but there are so many creators that it would shock you have been in a relationship or marriage for so long. So it's just a lot of chatter online, and I don't know anybody that's in the industry that takes it that seriously. Like, I've never met any creators that like have really been like, I'm so worried I'm not gonna find anybody because of this, because I think that they all also see how much interest they have.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a myth that gets spread around, and you have to have a thick skin to be in this industry, and if you don't, it is not the industry for you. And people are going to say a lot of things about you, and they're not going to be true, and you just have to let it roll off your back, because if you get upset about things that like are not accurate, I get told every single day I'm going to die alone. Like, I'm never going to get married. It's like, okay, so how false is this?
Yeah.
You know? So you just have to remember that these things are not true, and happy people don't get online and say mean things to strangers on the internet. And that's
True.
how you survive the industry.
Yeah.
Society often deems porn stars and adult content creators as undateable or not marriage material. So how does that stigma make you feel?
Well, I hope that our relationship, our content that we create, our presence, the way that we show up for one another, the way that we present ourselves at conferences and conventions and sit on panels across the sex industry, helps others have the confidence to blow past that stereotype and believe that they are worthy of a committed, lovable relationship, and they deserve to be loved and be valued, and damn others and their fucking stereotypes.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, for me, it sucks. I mean, human beings are sexual beings. We are created from the very act of sex. And because there's a whole sector of society out there, sex workers, cam models, porn stars, content creators, just because we happen to be extremely comfortable with our sexuality and comfortable with our bodies, there shouldn't be so much stigma placed on that. I mean, porn is like the number one earning industry in the world. It is a driver of so much technology and innovation. People obviously want that. It's exciting to see people engage in sexuality.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's stimulating. So I think that stigma, I think it's so outdated, and I think, like you said, it's time for it to go.
Yeah. And know that you deserve it. Know you deserve to be loved and be valued and respected, and deserve to have what you want.
Have you always had good and healthy communication with your partner, or is that something that you've had to work towards?
I'd say it's something we've had to learn over time.
Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of having good communication with your partner is learning your partner and the way that your partner communicates. So that, no matter who you're with, you will probably have to work towards over time.
Yes, there's definitely a individual communication style.
Yeah.
Or best practices with anybody. And fundamentally, that's going to be different with every single person. There is an overall way of communicating that can be applied to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I would say, it starts with really listening to that person and not knee-jerking while they're talking, trying to really listen to what they're saying, and then, absorbing that and figuring out what they need from that conversation and what you have to offer at the same time.
Yeah. Took a lot of work.
I think we've always had decent communication. Again, coming to the fact that we started in the kink industry, started as a polyamorous couple, that's always been there, but this has definitely added another layer, has helped us improve upon it, has helped us expand upon it. It's sometimes different types of communication, increasing the frequency, different things that you're talking about, but it's all still there. So, no, I think we've always had decent, and now I'd say we have good to great.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've gone from A tier to S tier.
yeah, yeah, and I agree with you. I'd say that we've always had pretty decent, communication, and that we have, really good, great communication now as well. I would agree with you. Have you always had, previously, before, because obviously you had relationships before me,
Yeah.
did you always have good communication?
No. Definitely not. That I can definitely reflect back on that. And the kink industry, polyamory, and then the adult industry has definitely shown me how much different communication can be, how much of it is super important, and that you can't be vague about things. You just, the details, lay it out, talk about it.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. I was not trying to throw your past under the bus. I was going to say the same thing about myself, but you just, well, I'm not going to mansplain it. Because that's what it would be doing. Right?
Have you always had good / healthy communication with your partner, or is that something that you had to work towards? I mean, I think we've always had a good, open line of communication. Well before you even got into this industry. I mean, we've had numerous discussions about where we want to go, what our paths forward, how we want our lives to look together. Communication's never really been a problem in our relationship, and I think that's part of the reason why we're able to navigate this as well as we are, because we've always had that open and honest line of dialogue between each other.
Yeah, we're definitely giving boring because we
Yeah, not as dramatic
we've
as
always
it sounds.
communicated well. I mean, for the most part, communication has never been a weak spot in our relationship.
Yeah.
We have just always, and we got together younger. I mean, I was 20, you were 22. I don't know if it's, part of it is kind of growing together, because we have largely grown together as people. So I don't know if that's part of it. But
yeah, I mean, we spent years kind of figuring out who we are as people and as adults.
And we've
together.
always navigated our relationship as a team.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's just always been a very strong suit of ours, and I think why being in this industry doesn't hurt our relationship or it hasn't had any negative impacts because of that foundation, honestly.
Yeah.
Have you always had a good, healthy communication with your partner? Or is this something that you had to work towards?
I think it's both. Actually, right from the beginning, I think we've had wonderful communication. Both of us have always, been authentic, not afraid to be vulnerable. But I also believe it's something that we can always work on. I especially know when my trauma or patterning or conditioned habits start creeping back in, and I hold my tongue because I'm afraid to share something with you because I don't want to disappoint you or I don't want to hurt you. I think we can always improve ourselves and take accountability for where we can learn, where we can grow, and where we can improve things. So as wonderful as our communication has always been right from the beginning, I know it's something that's always getting better.
And I agree with you on everything you said. And with addition to that, relationships evolve and things change. Different things happen. We go through different ages, and we go through menopause. We go through, physical changes. I think it's the communication around that evolves and changes. So, I think that you and I, when we first started our journey together, also had previous successes and failures in relationships. And I think that we recognized the core aspects of this one, which was, wow, you know, the authenticity, the intention, the communication came out of that because of the safety. Communication doesn't just happen. Communication happens because you feel safe. You know, yelling at someone is a form of communication. Screaming at one another is a form of communication. It's not positive. It's not good. But when you feel safe and you feel you can be vulnerable and you know you're being heard and you also have the patience and empathy for one another, it creates that environment that allows that life to progress and increase and handle new challenges and new ways you have to communicate and express to one another.
And there has to be a sense of reciprocity
Yeah.
there. I mean, you have to give the thing that you want to get. Like, if I want you to be open and truthful and vulnerable, I have to do that myself.
Yeah, and not do it because you're doing it in order to get that. It's just because it is. I mean, to approach a relationship from the very perspective of, I'm doing this because it's the right thing, not because I expect something out of you. It's just that it is. It's just, I owe it to myself and I owe it to you to be genuine and honest and upfront. And if you meet that and exceed that, great. It's not a competition. It's, you know, it's just the way it should be. And I think that's what creates that healthy, solid, good communication, which is also the reason why after 10 years of adult creators and cam models together, you know, is the reason why we're still here and still enjoying it and really are enthused about it.
What is your long-term goal for your relationship? Get married, get a house, have kids, live happily ever after?
Well, I mean, at this point, we have a lot of those things. I would
Yeah.
say,
Bunch of dogs, we gotta get on that. No, I'm just kidding.
my goal is to be have the level of financial freedom where I can. What I'm trying to have is I'm trying to buy something, and that's my time. I want to have the time to pursue and do the things that I want more often than I do now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like our relationship goals, we kind of met it. Live happily ever after. We're already on that train.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of it is like work goals.
Yeah, but I would say that, you know, that time is like, okay, we can,
Yeah.
I don't have to go to work tonight.
Yeah,
I can,
yeah.
You know what, let's go on a date, or let's watch a
Yeah.
movie, you know,
Just spend more time together.
or there's, you know, I like working, I work hard, but I could pursue other things or other projects that, I'd love to do now. I simply just don't have the time to do it. And, working in clubs, I work nights and weekends, and, getting that time back means a lot, because you miss a concert or you miss a birthday party, but you're going to work and you're making great money. Well, you know, would you miss a birthday party for $1,200? Would you miss this concert for $1,000? Absolutely. But you know, it's not just one concert or one birthday party or one family event or something like that. It's thousands of them. And how can you put a price on that? Then you look back at your whole life and you're like, I have spent so much of my time working. How many life experiences am I missing out on it? You know, the money's great, but that is not the most important thing. Money is just simply a tool to get what you want. So the goal is through our content work and you know, other things that we do is to get that time back to where we have more of these times where we're not sacrificing one for the other. You know, and the goal is ultimate freedom, getting to do as much of what you want to do when you want to do it.
Well, when we started here in this industry, it was definitely getting a house. And we
Check.
have now done that. So we are so grateful and so happy for the industry, for our fans, everyone that we've worked with that have helped make that possible.
So I'd say to continue fixing the house, because it's definitely fixer upper.
Yes.
You definitely, you know, to continue working on the house, fixing it up, continuing to grow and build in the industry, and would be a goal.
Yeah. Travel, more travel. Before you and before this, I really did not have the opportunity or funds to really travel outside of the state much, unless it was by like bus. And so it's definitely given the opportunity to travel for conventions, to go see people just for the fun of it. You know, so it's, and I'd like to continue to do that, get out of the country a little bit more, go explore the rest of the world.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, I do. Yeah, long-term goals: continue to fix the house up, travel, and to make each other happy.
Keep making each other
That's
happy.
what I mean. That's what I said. I just to keep not going. Yeah.
I was building off of you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I love you.
I love you too.
What is your long-term goal for your relationship? Get married, get a house, have kids, rescue a bunch of dogs, live happily ever after, kiss a lot, whatever works. We have all
Done,
yeah.
and done.
We are married. We own a house. We have a bunch of dogs. We are currently doing IVF to start our family. So that would be our
Probably the next step.
Yeah, that would be the next step. Which, you know, it'll be, again, we'll have to open conversations and, you know, discover how the future in this line of work works for us and with this new dynamic. And, you know, that's, again, that might change some boundaries. That might, you know, things might change. But because our life is going to change in the future, yeah, we'll go back to the drawing board and, you know, revisit
Hash everything out and
see
figure out
where we
we're
are.
going. Yeah.
But yeah, that is the next step for us because we've done a lot of the things.
Yeah.
So-
And I wouldn't. Yeah. When you've been together as long as we have, it's
Yeah, seems like the
We've
next
accomplished.
logical step.
accomplished all the things.
Yeah, we've accomplished all the things, so now we're gonna
One last
create,
hurdle.
mold a human.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully, knock on wood.
What is your long-term goal for our relationship?
To create a home and an environment and a life that both you and I can feel safe and secure, that we can express our wants and our desires and our intentions, our creativity, and have the support of one another to be able to feel safe enough to challenge ourselves and have the support of each other in that, to build a home and to continue expanding on that home, that this is our sanctuary. This is our place to always feel safe and to let down that armor that we have to put on when we're, you know, as content creators or webcammers, or we're just going out into the workforce of the world, that when we come home, we can shed that and we can look at one another and go, I love you and I value you and your struggles are my struggle and I'm here to support you and stand by you. And to know that in the years to come and the challenges that we'll face, that no matter what, that you know that I got your back and that I'm not going anywhere and that I would never leave your side. And over those 15 years that we've been together, the integrity that I've shown and demonstrated through the consistency of my actions and the consistency of my words, that you can always rely on that.
That's beautiful. I love that vision. And I am right there with you in that. And I always have your back and I always support you and I am your safe place too. I think for me, one of the long-term goals is just continuing to do what we've been doing for the last 10 years, the last 15 years, not just with our adult content creation and webcamming and the conversations we have with viewers there, but how we show up in this world to be a loving, living, breathing, authentic example of a healthy, thriving relationship. It's been studied, it's been shown that the quality of our relationships is the single most determining factor in our happiness and satisfaction in life. And so I hope to inspire others to seek what we have, that empathy, that understanding, that togetherness, that sanctuary, as you said. So I just hope to continue inspiring people in the way we've always been doing.
I'm Eden Riley.
And I'm Vincent Fox, and we are Vincent and Eden on YourVids.
Good job, baby.
I'm Liam Idles,
And I'm Kinky Subgirl.
and you can find us both individually on YourVids.
Yes, you can. You can find us both on YourVids.
I'm Guido.
I'm Jay.
You can find me at Hey Guido with 2 Y's on YourVids.
I'm Peppermint,
And I'm Dusty.
and you can find us on YourVids as Peppermint Dusty.
Thank you.
Thank you.